We're going to be joined now by foreign affairs analyst and former senior policy advisor at the U.S. mission to the United Nations and friend of the program, Jonathan Wachtel, and Kirk Lippold, former USS Cole Commander and former U.S. Navy officer. Thank you both for joining us. Excellent panel to walk through these next steps. Jonathan, I want to get your reaction to the latest developments on the 3 U.S. service members killed and 5 others injured. We knew that this was going to be a possibility, and here we are. And I also want to get your take on just what we've seen transpire in the last 24 hours. You have so much experience in this region.
So, Laura, of course, the death of the 3 service members and the injured ones is going to ratchet up things in terms of opposition to what President Trump is conducting here. Certainly, the wing of Congress that is very much opposed to what's been happening is going to be quite vociferous over the next days, trying to position things in such a way in which there will be a lot of pressure on President Trump moving forward.
Sure. And Kirk, Iran's foreign minister is asking for understanding from his Persian Gulf nations, with Iran's retaliation that's going on. So I wanted to ask you about, some short-term and long-term consequences for regional stability in the Middle East. With your experience, how can that be done?
I think if you look at it in the short term, there's going to be some destabilization throughout the Middle East. The governments are going to be assessing what Iran is doing and attacking them as far as their facilities, their leadership, interfering with oil flow out of the Gulf. Long term, I think that our allies in the region and our partners there are absolutely thrilled that the United States finally, after decades of destabilization by the Iranian regime with proxies and them directly, are finally being taken off the table. It's going to take time, but at the end of the day, this strike has been a long time in coming. Hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans and others have died as a result of the Iranian regime. They could not be allowed to have a ballistic missile program, nuclear weapons program, and the proxy support needed to end. So overall, long term, this is going to be very good for the stabilization of the Middle East.
Right. So many people banking on that. And Jonathan, the question now is who's going to take over this power vacuum that we're witnessing? Because Iran's foreign minister announced that a new supreme leader could be chosen in 1 to 2 days. So we've got to think about the broader geopolitical implications of the conflict, but also who is going to be taking over at this point? Could it be somebody better, somebody worse? So, you know the region. What do you think?
Well, first of all, the assembly that will be choosing who's the next leader, there is the option of having it be multiple people. So while there's talk right now that it will be one individual, maybe we'll have several people actually running the show, which might be an intelligent way if you're looking at this from an Iranian regime perspective, that, it's more difficult to pick off 3 people as opposed to 1. That said, it would be anticipated that individual or those individuals would be hardliners right now, because this is all about the regime trying to save its own neck. They're under tremendous pressure, and this will be relentless indeed. Now that the 3 servicemen have been killed, it means that, we certainly are not going to see a letting up, certainly from the U.S. side. The Israelis are adamant, and we would have expected the Israelis to actually conduct military attacks in any event because of the existential threat that they've been facing with the ballistic missiles and Iran's vowing to destroy the state of Israel. So we're in this, and this fight will go to the bitter end of whatever the outcome is going to be. But it is going to be a very long process after the fighting is over to figure out, who is in charge and what sort of transition. Will the Iranian people be able to find some sort of unity, because it's been such an impossible situation to have a united voice of opposition, because the regime is just so utterly vicious in terms of oppressing their people, that it's not the type of scenario in which you can have an uprising that then, you have an individual or groupings that can work in cohesion to try to then establish a new government. So this is going to be a bloodbath, unfortunately, and a lot of brinkmanship trying to figure out who is going to be in charge.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.